once again, there's some weirdness about Blake7 that's actually pretty good, and yet this is kind of a weak episode in a lot of ways, called Weapon. I mean, the plot's pretty simple. There's this powerful weapon, experimental, that the Federation wants. Blake wants to stop him from getting it, and all that. And it's this guy who was kind of a big muckety-muck, and then now he's not, and he's on the run. But the deal is with his super weapon, which turns out it's a gun, but it all it does is tag you. Once you're tagged, unless you can get a million miles away out of its range, the person with the weapon can kill you at any time they want. So it's just like a remote control. Once you're tagged with it, it's almost as if you have like a bomb inside you will go off or what have you. But it's interesting because the guy's really funny looking. He's almost dressed up like Ming the Merciless in it, and he's got his this girl who apparently was his slave or what have you, and she's very subservient to him. And I guess his technical skill of making the gun is brilliant, but are depending. I mean, it's kind of a silly weapon, but he's not very bright otherwise, and she's hanging on to him and all this, and but she ends up figuring things out for herself at the end. So of course Serverland's after him. Blake once comes after him, but in the meantime, we see where Star Wars stole from Blake7, because the opening scene is where they introduce the new Travis. Yes, Travis regenerated. And I prefer the original Travis. He looked like a rougher, tougher guy. Looked like he'd been around. And this guy is a bit of a pretty boy with his Elvis hairdo. But anyway, they reestablished just how much he hates Blake. And Blake, there's this scene, and there he is in this room. And you're like, wow, what is this, a dream or something? And Blake shows up and walks, and then Travis kills him. And then this woman descends from looking like heaven or whatever. And there's all this music. I was like, is he dreaming or what? And then I thought, was he in like a hologram thing or something? But no, it's a planet of people who are very good at making clones, just like the aliens in the Attack of the Clones. Yeah, that's right. And they're like, hey, look, it takes a while to make one of these. You just killed it. But fortunately, they have another one, and they're going to use him to impersonate Blake. So they introduce all of this. It's a Blake clone, but he's not quite Blake. They didn't have enough of Blake's DNA to do it, so they kind of had to just make a Blake. How that happened, I don't know. And so they use him in an attempt to gain the what's his name, the guy who created the deadly weapon, and to trick him into handing it over to Blake, because he wants to stick it to the Federation, and so Blake is the guy he would do business with. And of course that all goes wrong, and ultimately Blake and the clone Blake and slave girl end up together, and they chase off. They manage to tag both. Actually Serverland tags Blake and Avon and all that, and she also tags Travis, getting ready to get rid of him, of course, of all the backstabbing that goes on. But it all comes to naught because the clone and the girl decide they don't like these people. And the clone didn't like the idea of killing anybody either. It was kind of brought up in the clone makers' religion of all life is special or some stuff like that. I don't know. And so they stay on that planet, and then Blake and Serverland, they all have to split and just, if you ever bother us again, we can kill you at a moment's notice. And so they leave. And so I'd forgotten all about this, that there was a clone Blake, and that might become significant later on about what kind of future could a Blake7 story have after the final season. Was it really Blake? But it's a strange way of pacing and all that, where you think it's going, it doesn't, and it just kind of, everything kind of falls flat. And the guy with the weapon is kind of stupid. Servalan, ultimately her plan is kind of stupid, and it foils pretty easily. But it's just so bizarre and weird, and so it still intrigued by it, but at the same time can't say it's one of the better episodes. It really isn't, but it does open up interesting possibilities. So after that, the Liberator collides with a ship, and they find out that it's a Federation freighter. And it's way far out of Federation space. And where's it going? Well, it's going to a planet called Horizon. And here, I guess, well, not guess, I think it pretty much is, a metaphor for colonialism and whatnot, where you have this guy who thinks he's in charge of his home planet, but really the Federation is, and they're just, lying to him, and they're using slave labor out of his people and all that, and ruining everything. Eventually, turning him around. Realizing the truth, because here comes Blake, who's all about revolution anyway. And it deals with that. But of course, the whole thing was, of course, Avon once again is right. He says, who cares? Leave. Don't go down there. Blake goes down there, gets captured. He and Jenna get captured. They get tortured, all this stuff. They're thrown into some mines to be slave labor. So then Gan and Villa go to, they get trapped. Eventually everybody's down. Callie goes down too. Avon, the smartest one of the bunch, stays on the ship, and then has to wonder, well, what are my odds of survival without them? I can run the ship with Orak and Zen, and he says, well, he calculates there's possibilities he could do it, but it's still highly risky and probably would ultimately end in his death. But he's close to doing it, so he's still there. He's still like, screw Blake, I'm out of here. And of course, this is Blake's aware of this, which is why he takes Jenna with him, not just because she's really hot and stuff, but because she's the main pilot, and it would be better to have her on the ship if you're going to steal it, because she's good at flying it. Well, that really wasn't going to stop Avon. He could have. So ultimately, Avon relents and rescues them, and so there you go. So it is interesting about the character relationships, and it's maintained like that, and they do have consistency here, and that's well done. More times than not these days, you can see that just completely being ignored. Without the consistency, things don't make sense. A character development goes all awry. You've got to show why a character reaches certain decisions when you've already demonstrated they never would, and suddenly they do, that kind of thing. It's really it's rather a simple thing and an obvious thing. But seeing it again now, and in the time we are now, it's certainly a lesson to learn about that, and how to have these rather dark characters who are supposed to be your heroes, but none of them really are all that heroic when you get down to it. Even Blake, his ambitions and stuff, he's quite the hard and rather dark character himself. So that's really the strong part of Blakes7 and why it deserves respect. So I think Horizon's a little bit better than Weapon, and also demonstrating the strengths of the Blakes7 series. So there you go, another good little fun with Blakes7. Thanks for watching and listening. Say, while you're still here, why not like and subscribe and share with your many friends? Yes. Also, check out my mini stores in the link description below. Yes, where you can get t-shirts, hats, mugs, all those goodies with my artwork on them. Oh, yeah. And head over to indieplanet.com and pick up a copy of my comic book, Night Night. Oh, yeah. You can also catch me at my podcast, Mr Nailsin Show, on RadioMisfits.com. And you can also watch my videos on BitChute.com and now on Rumble.com. Oh, my goodness. So many places to watch me and my stuff. Oh, yeah. And if that's not enough for you, well, you can follow me on many social media platforms and say hi to your old pal, Mr. Nailsin.